Greetings, everyone. Are we live? Yes, we are live. Rocco's still hitting the sell button, so nothing doing there. He won't be joining us today. An ugly day, very interesting day. Today's Friday, August 2nd, 2024. I've been talking about the distribution stage, as we had talked about, should end on or around, as I said, literally this day. I had Wednesday to Friday eked out, and this goes back to the prior highs on July 16th. I'll pull up all the charts to help make more sense of this. And I had before around 540 for the level, and I said before, and you can check the tapes from 2 weeks ago, if things get ugly, I can actually just check it because I have it here. So the truth, I thought we were trading at 565 then at the peak of the market. Then, and I said we're probably going to get a sell-off to about 550. If things get ugly, you get to about 540. Today we closed at about 533. So we'll take a look at the charts, what that means when you have, it's under my level by 1.5%. Full disclosure, I bought stocks and Bitcoin today. I got a couple oversold indications and notes from my data providers that I believe in. We'll go through and we'll see what's going on now. But not a great day for the market. Down 1.9 or so for the S&Ps. NASDAQ got hammered down 2.4, and the worst of all, Russell, and that's why I'm short Russell through put spreads. Although still today, not a great day. I was down less than 1%, thankfully, but tough sledding for sure when you get these reversals. So let's take a look, and we will see exactly what happened today. And it's pretty interesting because I didn't want to become the bond show, but there was a big flock to bonds after the big jobs number that was weak. Recession is now filtering into people's head. It looks like we have the market priced in 125 basis points of cuts by New Year's Eve. The December meeting, it's like December, whatever. So people are really anticipating 50 bips to come off in September. We'll see. I don't want to get into cocktail talk here. I'm just going to look at the chart. So today, bonds and volatility explode post the weak jobs number. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. Japan, this is something to behold. Japan absolutely smoked. It's also because the dollar had a massive move and the yen went, obviously, as FX pairs trade. The dollar got hit hard, multiple sigmas, about almost 3 sigma or 3 standard deviation move. Energy collapsed. Oil was like $73 a barrel. Obviously, when there's recession, there's global growth fears, and that's why you see these assets. But it's very interesting what else got hit. The dollar, as I said, and banks viciously sold off. This week, in summary, we didn't have a show on Wednesday. I wasn't here. So this week, at the end of the day, what happened? Huge pops in volatility through the VXX ETF I'm tracking, which just reverse split because it's such a piece of crap, was up 33% in the past 5 days. So that's absolutely insane. Obviously, it was up massively today. It was up 23% today. So 10% on the balance, but you're talking like an average of 6% a day. We'll take a look at the charts. And the biggest drops, if you had the, ESP, what would you have done in this market? Short Bitcoin, okay? Short Japan, either through EWJ or the hedged one would have been better, DXJ. And uranium. Uranium is an interesting chart. I said this thing could be a poser for about a month. And then like August 18th, I think I had my date. It's crazy if I remember that correctly. And then it has to, try and recover. Let's see. I don't think the chart looks that good. Best 3 absolute trades of the past week, as we said. If you have this gamed out, it's long volatility, short Bitcoin, and short the DXJ or Japan. And then I still want to have a capture of this, a look at this, because this is something we've been doing over the past, on the Fridays. I like to have a recap of the past year, the best trades in the market. And it's crazy kind of reversals here. So the biggest loser in the past week is the year's best winner. Screams rotation to me. I'm not saying sell all your Bitcoin. In fact, talking my book, I bought today. I'm just letting you know what smells and what doesn't. But yeah, it's interesting to me that the best trade of the past year is the worst trade for this past week. So just screams rotation. You see Campbell Soup hitting 52-week highs today. It's a little bit weird and fearful because that's risk off entirely. You want to see NVIDIA's March and Amazon, although Amazon was not doing it today because they guided miserably lower. But it's an important thing to see, and you'll see as I go through more charts. The second best trade of the year, short nat gas. I'm going to get back into long put spreads. I'll take a look at that chart, see if there's opportunity. And the third best trade still on the board, long semis. They've got smoked today. They've been smoked. They're down 10% over the past 5 days. They're on sale. I bought mega cap tech, so basically I did buy, in part SMH. But let's take a look at charts. All right. Let me share. Hello. That's me with my Allison Chain shirt. Seeing Green Day on Monday night. It was not having a Green Day today, the stock market. Very red day. That's not as fun a band. Okay, so here is the market. The comforting thing, I was trading some options today, tried to trade out of my IWM put spreads. Thankfully, basically traded around VWAP. Thing gap down lower, as you can see in markets, and they basically traded along VWAP. So we hit the lows in SPY at 11 a.m. VWAP pretty much flattish around 532, descending all day. And we actually did close above VWAP. I know it's ugly, down 1.86%, but it's not a horrendous thing. VWAP was 532.13. Shows me there was a little bit of buyers, at least not everyone saying, I don't want to go long into the weekend, capitulate, and liquidate. Okay, but some of these names are crazy down. Amazon down 8%, Tesla down 4%, but that's been dancing to the beat of its own drum. Intel down 26%. That's insane. And I think that with the jobs number really had some kind of, and the Japan move just kind of had a seller mentality market first. Taiwan semi down 5%. So let's zoom out and let's take a look at the S&Ps. So I like the support. I did this on a couple different basis. So right around 535 is 535 is the level that I like for support. Again, I had a 15 to 18 day decline coming into from these highs. It was July 16th. So if you're good with your math, that takes you to about August 1st through the 3rd, literally saying the low. It was more to the extreme side, but you had this huge run of oversold. When you do, HIIT or high intensity interval workout training, what do you do? After you do a ton of reps, you're going to have to take a longer breath. You're going to have to do a minute instead of just a regular 30 seconds. That's what I believe happened here. You had an ugly sell-off here as well, but what happened prior? Just a nonstop train, all right? I remember my buddy was texting me right around here and says, I'm getting 2017 vibes where the market went up every day and there were no corrections. Now look at us with the VIX at 30, 40, wherever it's at. So all that being said, we're not going to absolutely drift off, I don't think, from moving averages. 21 EMA is 548, okay? So it's 16 points or about like 3% away. So this is my understanding how I'm going to next week is critical. Obviously, there's also, I think, earnings next week, so that can really have a bit of a magnifying glass on the markets. But I think we're a little bit extended here to the downside. I believe over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will make a move towards 550. All right. Similar, just because the way like the chart looks to me, it was almost similar to Bitcoin prior, how I said, it would be great if it, cracked over 70K, but it looks like it exhausts a lot of energy to get to, where it was 66, and then went right back down to 62, 63. What I surmise here is happening with the market is it's going to take quite a bit of work to get to the 550 level right here, this convergence of many moving averages and calculated levels. But here's the thing, the highs are 5% off. I think the buck, I'm not, I was just quoting Business Insider saying new all-time highs by Labor Day. I'm not veering off of that, but I think potentially for the end of, or the next 3 weeks or so, I think you're going to top right around this 550. It just, the markets needed to take a little breath. I saw many analysts saying that this is a perfect level correction. Look at the slope of that 200-day moving average. The slope does not tell me that the trend is gone. If anything, this was a 52-week low, right, for SPY. It undercut the 200-day by, I'm not going to do everything right now specifically, but it's 423. And then you got, I mean, we're really, if it got to 500 in the S&Ps, which is 30, or in SPY, which is still $30 off, what is that, like 7% or something? Then algos and hedge funds, you'd really see liquidation because then the trend is, in fact, not so. So all that being said, like I said, I bought stocks today and Bitcoin. I would start to buy some. I don't think you have to do all in one go. The weakness, yesterday was ugly. Today was ugly. Don't know what Monday's going to bring. I would start nibbling here in such a strong market when you get to the lower volatility band. All right. So that's my call. Buying returns in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And if you want to get like in the weeds on that, I see the bullish phase or the accumulation phase of this market by about August 15th or so. I'll actually say August 16th, so 2 weeks from today, around there, I see us getting to about 550. All right. So it would be, about like 3.5% or so gain from here. All right. So that's my call on the broader market. Let's see how many individual plays feed into that. All right. So I didn't want this to become the bond show, but the bonds were the only thing ripping, especially the longer end. So like the 3, 5 years, 7 years, you have massive rips in this. So up 1% is a massive move, meaning rates absolutely collapsed. Obviously, all this global growth fears and so on and so forth and what have you. All right. So this is so extended. Look at this candle here. Yes, it's a new 52-week high. I have other bands on this. I did, I'm looking at the chart here, and this is in accumulation mode, but this shouldn't be getting above, 118. Actually, that's way 117.5. Okay. So 117.5. Yeah, exactly. It goes to the bottom, the top of this filter, that band, and the blue lines here. So that would be bond prices go down, rates go up, and ironically, in a crazy way, this would be relief in the market because there's a little bit too much fear. So you're going to have a lot of moves in this, but the bond story, look at this little tilt, this arc you have here with the 200-day moving average, which is this black line. Pretty interesting. This thing's looked strong. Bonds have looked strong since June 7th, I'm seeing here. It was having this really just being magnetized. I think I talked about this in the video about 2 months ago. This specifically, it trades similar to TLT. TLT is the 20-year. This is, 5-year. More than not. It really got its grips and its legs underneath it, I would say, right after Memorial Day. So bonds, up, and I think that's when the market really started sniffing out rates are coming, started buying bonds and lower yields. Okay, let's take a look at VXX. All that being said, so VXX, IEI, just a little bit overdone because the selling might not be done in the market. It could hover around here with this 119 handle, but that's crazy. I see this getting back to the 117 handle very soon. This is a fear trade. All right, go to VXX. This is crazy, as I said, because it just split last week. So that's very interesting. So it's kind of all wonky because the 200-day moving average, and we split at the top, but it's adjusted. The 200-day moving average is 58.80, 58.79 to be exact. We're above that. So you got to think of this in 2 ways. Is this a trend change, sentiment change, and the top is in the market, and now everything, is going to the bottom? Not really sure. We had a 52-week low in volatility July 12th. And then you get to this level of 200 moving average. Also did a bunch of work, and I saw that like NASDAQ should be bottoming within like 72 hours. There's been a couple different metrics, but we'll look at, I'm sure, a tech chart as well. I don't want to buy volatility here. I know there's fear and everything else, but I'm glad I sold IWM puts today. I just don't want to be a buyer of volatility here above 59 is the level. It's up 24% today. This could easily get back to 45. So have that for what you will. And I think it's crazy because it's such a big move. Let me do 6 months because it's such a piece of crap. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but I think this goes to like 47 in the next 3 weeks. So 15% reduction. This would be like a 27% reduction in volatility over the next 3 weeks. That'd be a huge lift to the market. So let's say it's balls a call. It's crazy. The average is all over the place. You can quote me on it. We'll see where we are final week. All right. Those were the only things that were up today. Bonds and volatility. Let's see what got absolutely smoked. So this is where we're really going to kick into the show here. So DXJ got absolutely liquidated today, down 7.5%. That's crazy. So you have the component of the nation, and then it's hedged yen versus dollar. So as we're talking about volatility, this is what's gets scary when I see a lot of things like corroborating, right? So VIX, we're not. So VIX has gone above its 200-day moving average. Look at this, and it hit a 52-week low 3 weeks ago, right? So look at this. Japan hit its 52-week high. I think it's an all-time high, literally the same week that the VIX hit its low, and now it's below its 200-day rising moving average, just like VIX did. Is this rotation? Is this more to come? So on and so forth. So I'd rather be a buyer of DXJ. I think this is in accumulation mode, although you wouldn't have guessed it today. The 200-day should serve as your support. That's 101. It had such a multiple sigma move today, so obviously gave that up. I don't like this being oversold. That's seller, loser behavior after being overbought. overbought, overbought. This thing is a superstar. You're potentially getting this on sale. I don't know if I want to buy it Monday morning first thing, considering like Nikkei was down 4% yesterday, and then the currency risk. But this should move towards, I know it's going to sound crazy, but this should be moving towards 107 over the next 3 weeks. Yeah, just to there. So that is a big gain of 10 points or, like 12%. Don't know if I do it Monday morning, but this could be, you're going to get all crazy kind of market rotation and stuff now. Just due to like how things are, the rubber band is bending each way, right? So bonds, I'm not saying it ends tomorrow, but that should go down. Volatility should go down. There should be cash going into things like this that are getting absolutely sold off. So I think this has a nice gain ahead of it over the next 3 weeks. Let's take a look at XOP. Obviously, global growth concerns. They don't want to buy oil and gas exploration and production stocks, right? So this thing's down 5% just today alone. Again, so the 200-day has been a magnet for this. It's been holding it. It's been doing all right. Couple of fools here, and now it's just the 200-day moving average on this is actually going down, and that's part of the problem when you put your top in April. All that being said, definitely like a relative strength sell. Does not look good. I just think the support around 138 should hold. This looks a little bit like a falling knife. I don't want to catch it, but I think you should get. It's not really, gratuitous. I'm talking about a $3 move, and then after that, if it has a little more strength, a 145. But this thing looks like crapola. I don't like a decreasing 200-day moving average. It's going to have to wrestle with that at 144. So don't love the energy space. You can almost take this as a whole for the global growth sometimes. All right, the dollar got liquidated today. Obviously, when you have massive move with bonds, the dollar is affected. It's pretty range bound, so I got to look. It doesn't move massively. It's 29 to 28. Let me do the 6 month zoom in here. So this basically, I was going to say liquidation or distribution mode from here. This doesn't move a ton though, and it's all the way back to its 200-day moving average. So that's kind of a concern. I just think it did all its moving down in about 3 sessions. I think this should be right around 28.5, right where we are. So maybe you get some chop. Next week it goes towards, 28.80, and then around here for these levels. All right, the banks got hit very hard today, specifically this basket. So it wasn't the XLF or the regionals, or specifically, there were a lot of the financials, but this is one specifically registered a multiple sigma move. So pretty interesting. Take a look at that little carrot notation. Just 3 days ago, this hit a new 52-week high. It may be an all-time high. Let me go on a 1 year for this because we can. This has more volatility, unlike the dollar, so we can zoom out. Crazy. So this hit a 52-week high just on the 31st at 59.56. So I'll round it, call it $60, and now we immediately give back, 4.5% today alone. And so let's say, this one has way too extended. I didn't think we should have been this overbought. Look at that. You get a bearish divergence, new price high, but the RSI didn't even get above 66. You needed to at least get above 70. Couldn't do it. Want to see it there. Divergence and fast move follows. So now what? I like the support at 54 on this. This might sell off for another day or two, but it actually looks like a nice buy here, especially if we want some risk to get into a different part of the market. But this doesn't look too bad, and I think it makes a move towards 57. So different parts of the market are looking attractive. And then, of course, metals and mining. If you have global growth concerns, you do not want metals and mining. So this thing got hit hard today, down 5% today. Put in a new 52-week high just 2 weeks ago. Look at this pretty tag right to the 200-day moving average. Last time it traded below 200-day moving average was before we were in Turkey on Thanksgiving. Any readings oversold? Nope. Superstar behavior, but last really having that title back around Christmas week, and then new highs around July. So what do you do with it here? I like the support around 59. Like 58 is the 200-day moving average. It's held it, and it's rising. It's held it since November. It doesn't give me a reason to not think that, and the highs are recent. This is just a little bit too much panic, and that's what you see when the VIX is up 22% in a day. Yeah, I like this. I think this is going to 62 over the next 3 weeks. So it's interesting. So all that being said, overstretched, rubber band, so on and so forth. I think the market's going to get, I don't know how big of a bounce. Actually, we talked about it before, but I do think the market gets a bounce over the next 3 weeks. Areas like this kind of confirm that. But a nice tag here. This would be, it's not a great candle, the red, and it closed right near the lows, but rising 200-day moving average, 58, support right at it. I don't hate that. All right, top 5 gainers of the past 5 days, no repeats. Number 1, VXX up 33%. Crazy in the past 5 days. That's your best trade. Second is TLT. TLT is up 5.5% in the past 5 days, up 3% today alone. Let's take a look. It's going to be very similar to the IEI ETF. So I still like this overall in accumulation mode, but with a top of about 95, half to 96. I don't like, this is crazy seeing this, just how far it is stretched out here. But look at the curvature of the 200-day moving average, and it's really, bonds go up, rates go lower, cuts coming in literally 6 weeks. Makes sense. But yeah, I see this being accumulated about not far above 95, half to 96. So I expect this to trade sideways a bit from there. Okay, XLU is the third best trade in the market from the long side, up 3.5% this past week and hit a new 52-week high today. Okay, not many things you could say that about, except the defensives, and that's why you have that carrot there. It did close, I guess, in the middle, a little bit towards the lows, but still up 0.1. You can't say that about much. This utility story has looked fire, really right around there. March 5th is when it really started held on the 200-day moving average, and now it's getting some lift. This looks a little bit overdone. I would say this is going to be, again, in distribution mode towards $71 over the next 3 weeks. Again, that is, if you mapped all the stuff out, of course, a lot of things are yin and yang. Sorry, Japan, I know you got smoked today. But things are a little bit stretched, and I'm seeing 3 points come off on this. It's going to be positive for equities, and I'm not doing this with any bias. I'm just looking at the charts, and it seems like rotation, will filter through. Okay, real estate. Let's see what we call for this. Real estate, a new 52-week high today. Crazy. Okay, so they're holding defensive stuff, right? And also with the dollar moves, assets are going to move a little bit strangely differently. Yeah, this looks good, of course. 52-week high, smooth sailing ahead. Overbought here, and it was a loser in April. Overbought, loser in September. So crazy one. The 200-day is getting a lift and rising. It's back here at 38. That's your support. This is a messy chart, to be honest with you. Even with a 52-week high, I'm just seeing this one's strange. I see it being accumulated. Obviously, a 52-week high is a big notation there, but it's a little bit stretched. I see this trading around 41.60. So maybe just a little bit get back. They didn't really buy it intensely today, but it was enough for a 52-week high. All right. And then Fizz, it wasn't the GLD, it was the Physical Gold Trust. This one hit a new all-time high. Gold's at nearly $2,500, so pretty close for GLD as well. This specific ETF hit a new 52-week high today, or new all-time high, and it's UNCH. Let me pull up the charts. I think I know what I'm going to say because this is a risky asset, but I could be wrong. So, yeah, I was wrong. So this one, yeah, I like here. Gold, I don't know how much it has left. I'd say 1% through this specific ETF because I see the resistance around 19.25. So I think it's got a little bit more room, just a tad bit, to about there. So 19.25 is literally 30 cents, maybe about 2% more up, and then that would be it. All right. Now, top 5 losers of the past week, no repeats. GBTC, the biggest loser, okay? Down 17%. In the past week. So this is important. So it's only down 1.3% today, but it's down 17% the past week. Let's take a look. Uno momento, por favor. Yeah, so just quite a fall, man. I mean, this thing was trading just on the 29th, $62, and now you're trading $50. So that's a lot of volatility. I unfortunately don't think it's over. I think the specific ETF, the GBTC, which is the best trade over the past year, okay, noted here. Last year, this thing was trading at $20. It's trading 50 today. That is 160%. This hit a 52-week low last August 18th. That was your, the ultimate buy signal, and it did hit its high in March. Just due to that, and because we're basing, just the math is going to catch up where it is the best trade of the year and everything, but it's got to maintain some slope. You don't want to see new 6-month lows, for example, because then the 200-day moving average is going to flatten. It looks like over the next 1 to 2 weeks, unfortunately, this looks like it's going to head towards 47.5. The GBTC, it could be done here, but I just think it's not done yet. Just it's also the best short on the board. Japan number 2. This just looks like it's going to have Bitcoin, unfortunately, a rough 1 to 2 weeks ahead down to 47.30s for the specific ETF, and that would send, I'm pretty sure, Bitcoin under 60K. And you had all that riffraff about Ethereum approval. Nothing happened in terms of the catalyst of the ETF moving massively, or Ethereum spot, and then Bitcoin, the whole Trump convention last week, and yada yada yada. Didn't matter. Here it is, trading week. All right. Okay. No repeats. Your second biggest loser is the DXJ. We already looked at that chart. Uranium. Let's take a look at this. This is interesting. Which way is this? Overextended, too much, too little. So down 6% today. Look at this flush. So I'd like to be a buyer of this. Okay, I think this is going to bounce to 27. This was really just a grotesque sell-off. This is crazy. This is from 20, just in a couple of days. This is just from the 31st. This trended from 28 to 24, half. Okay, so I said before, and we were referencing this before, holding a 200-day, and now it looks like a poser. July 18th, I remember that number perfectly. So August 18th, I give this about 2 weeks. I know there's this kind of pie in the sky. It's not for me, though, because I've seen this in many other assets. I am expecting a bounce in the markets. All that being said, if URA is not above its 200-day moving average, and I'm going to say to here, it's pretty much flat at 29.10. It's starting to flatten out now. If this is not above 29.10 by August 18th, I don't want to be in it. I potentially become a seller. We'll see. If you're having readings now of oversold for the first time. So again, a little bit of sentiment change. And this thing is down 11% in the past week. Half of it basically coming from today. I do think you want to buy this. I'd be careful because you have like 16 days I have on this trial. I would be, innocent till proven guilty kind of thing and buy it, just given the bounce. But definitely be careful. You can have stops. But I think it's going to be magnetized. I think it's going to try very hard to get to its 200-day moving average of 29.10. But the first stop is going to be the 21-day exponential moving average at 28.40. So right about here, pretty close levels. So I do expect it to happen in the next 3 weeks. And I've been talking about that August 18th date from before. So interesting chart to look at. The stocks ETF, the fourth biggest loser in the market in the past week, down 10.5%. Wow, look at that. All the way, let's see, put our money where our mouth is. I literally bought Mega Cap Tech today. Let's take a look at the kind of sell-off this is. So don't like to see that. So it's got the 200-day moving average. The last time we were under the 200-day moving average for the semiconductors was November 1st, okay? You were literally in your Halloween costumes, and it was a 52-week low now, looking back. Okay, so understand that for a second. The 200-day was rising still back then. Okay, so going back, right, a 10-month view or so, and then it put in its low on Halloween, and we've continued to lift. All right, now what? A little overstretched. I don't like this. I'm not going to say that a superstar, less than 3 weeks ago, putting in new all-time highs, and then everyone's rushing for the exits. It's just not the way. Sorry, I don't think markets really work like that. You always have panic today where the VIX is up 25%. All that being said, I think this is going to mean revert to 222. I think you get one of those. I don't know when it's going to happen, Monday, Tuesday, but I think you're going to get a powerful 222 is what, 16 points? So like a 6% move in semis. I'm calling for this over the next 3 weeks. But I think this specific ETF, the stocks, gets to at least 222. And then I think it makes a move towards this right around there, this 236 level. So got, some hard work to do, but an ugly test. We have had an ugly sell-off like this in the semiconductors. I'm using stochastic momentum mix. Yeah, really since those lows, since the October sell-off. Okay. So interesting times. And then ARC, the 5th biggest loser of the week. Less than semis, though. Actually, pretty close tie. They're both down 10%. Down 4.5 today. Let's take a look. A lot of charts today. A lot of charts today in such a craziness. All right. Yeah, so this has been getting sold off. Ever had its extraordinary run here that ended essentially on July 17th. It's funny. I just see a lot of moving averages, a lot of bunching right around the 45.70 level, right around here. Just a lot of bunching. That's 10% from here. I think it bounces up 10% in the next 3 weeks. ARC, I think it's trading 45 by the end of August, and I think specifically assets like this, I think they're going to finally internalize. Rate cuts are coming. It's going to help a lot of firms that are specifically in this basket that can refi and get a lot of pre-revenue firms or pre-gross profit firms, and they can be beneficiaries of rate cuts. So I think it'll be a tailwind for this group. Okay, best 2 absolute trades of the past 5 days. We said it: long vol, short Bitcoin, short DXJ, and then I think we did all the charts. Let me just double check. So the best 3 trades of the past year: GBTC up 160%. Congrats if you're diamond hands, long and strong. That it's working. And then Nat Gas is the only one we didn't have. Nat Gas is the 2nd best trade on the board of the past year rather, and that's the downside. I am going to start looking at rolling up put spreads in this again because I don't want to just stick with IWM, especially if that gets chased. Unfortunately, this thing is such crap. It put in a new 52-week low today. Just absolutely astonishing. What a tag of the 200-day, and they got to Dikembe. I would love to see that again. All that being said, I think this is in sell mode. I don't think folks are going to flock to buying this anytime soon. But if we were to get a move towards the 21 exponential moving average, which is 1475, I'll try and sell it. I was on JC's show, the YouTube show on Monday, and he's like, "You really sell this crap?" And I said, "Yeah, you can get paid." And he pulled it up and he goes, "Yeah, you know what? I kind of see the juices, the premium's kind of juicy." I haven't done it in a while though. I don't like really doing it with stocks under $15, but it is the best short of the past year, down 51%. And then just because we have it, I did SOX a second ago, but the SMH specifically is the 3rd best trade of the past year, 2nd best overall on the long side, up 40%. So it's interesting. The SOX we said actually got all the way down to here. I forget the weighting, but SMH is very heavy NVIDIA and such. It did not do that here. So let me pull up SMH so we have it on the screen. Boopity bop. All right. I think this has a date in the next 3 weeks with 250. I just think it's such a strong performer. Top was in literally 3 weeks ago. I just don't give up on trends this hard, especially on a panicky day. I think you're getting a move to 250 over the next 3 weeks, which is 30 points or like 15%. And that's going to be powering. Did I do that right? $30, 250, 32, and the 218. Yeah, it's a 50% move. And that'll be a big power of the markets. That'll basically be the fuel behind me saying markets going higher. So if you get the semis bouncing 15%, everyone's fat and giggly. All right. Oof. I think I'm going to try and do a show Monday. Not sure if I will be around. Otherwise, definitely Wednesday. We'll see what kind of mayhem comes out next week. Have a great weekend. Peace.